All right, howdy. Welcome to the Laptop Empire Show. I'm here with the great Bobo, as always, with his new setup. I think, was it last episode that you still had like the blank wall and like you were pretty much just beiging into the wall?
I don't know. It was the last one. I had butcher paper up for a long time because honestly, like to do this, it was it took a long time to figure out how to do it, like just to get the frames right and to get them on the right place in the wall. And like, I'm not a handy. I wouldn't consider myself a handyman. So like, there was a lot of like one of them you can't see it, but one of them's all jacked up because it's like I put the hole in the wrong place and everything. But I got it almost done. There's still a couple of sneakers that need to go up on the top, and then I got to do some touch up paint.
The top right.
It's like you can't see it, but it's like the two above me. I need to add two there.
Specks. Well, I guess it would be to your left.
Yeah,
there's white specks over the corner.
Yeah, that's probably that one. I jacked one up really bad, but it's almost there. I'm trying to do it to where, because I am going to replace my desk. I have this like presidential massive desk that my wife got me from Pottery Barn that I want to get rid of. And I just want to do a normal standing desk. So my goal is to have it to where when I stand up, it's like the next layer of the same like sneakers and albums and stuff.
So you won't see the tabletop behind you.
You won't see like the knick-knack table thing behind me, but you'll still see all the same background and everything. So I don't know if I'm going to actually record that way. Have I used one? Yeah, I did when I first started. When I first quit my teaching job, I had a standing desk. I actually liked it. I did find myself like leaning over on the desk a lot because I didn't actually have a chair. So my setup now is like, I got this chair. It's called a Core 360. It's a QOR 360 for anybody that's
the wiggle chair.
Yeah. So it's called active sitting, but it basically forces you to move around the entire time, but it's more like a stool than a chair. And it goes up pretty high. So I think I've kind of got used to that. And so I think between a standing desk and having that, like, I just want to move more. That's one of the things that this year I'm trying to I know I didn't realize how much I sit until I got this chair because I'm sore every day. So anyway, I'm just trying to do the new setup, I don't know. I've got another podcast setup that I'm going to do. That's the next project. So I'm going to have like alternate setups.
Yeah. I'd like to record in that chair right there, but I got to like rearrange the mic situation in order to pull that off. So.
That's the part. Yeah. Cause you said that and I was like, dude, I want to do that too. Cause that'd be cool if like sometimes we were just sitting, doing the sitting style of recording. But I don't like know.
My lighting would be better too. Cause I've got this beautiful view situation, which is beautiful, but
you can't see it here. Yeah, you don't get the justice here. But I don't know how to do the microphone and like, am I going to have a second video setup? I'm not really sure. If somebody knows anything about that, you can tell me in the comments if there's like a good way to do that. But
it looks like this is a camera stand or it's like a phone.
Yeah.
Whatever tripod, but I have one that's like a tripod boom thing that I can use over there. I don't know that it would hold this mic. I might have to use one of the other ones, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I want to be able to touch the mic. How on all the podcasts, like you said, Joe Rogan touches his mic all the time. He's always moving it around. When I touch this one, it makes sound and it makes me mad. So like, but I also don't have the shock mounted. So I'm getting there. Like, I feel like, finally like 7 years into doing this online business thing, like I'm finally starting to get dialed in with the tech a little bit, but still have a little ways to go.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the look of this one. I feel like I'm on a radio show. I need one of those banners.
It does look cool. That's kind of, I don't know if I want something necessarily like that when I'm sitting, because it makes sense for you right here, but there's a lot going on and it's like a top mounted one. So I don't know. And then I've got these other mics too.
Like I would rather have this, like if I could have a floor mounted version of this for by the chair, because I like the chunkiness and how it comes over. I think that'd be nice. But and you see that in shows like when people are on couches and stuff, like whatever. But what I don't like about it is if I'm recording at my desk, this takes up so much space in like a YouTube video. And so I would rather have like what you have. That's like stand, like on a stand. The problem I run into, like I have one of those kind of, but it's more like a stick. It's more like a tiny boom. But I have my desk is actually a drawing table, like an architect's drafting table. It's not a desk, so it's higher. And then
that makes sense.
My chair is low and it's old, so it doesn't go up. And that's why you always hear me like creaking, but I just love this chair. So it's like I need a higher chair. I probably need like a drafting table stool. And then that would be better.
You could get the Core 360 and just be miserable the entire time that you're sitting.
To me, though, I don't know. That to me seems like using one of those what they call Bosu balls, or it's like an exercise ball, except like less awkward looking. It's like a exercise ball in disguise. Like that doesn't, like, I don't know. I want to go on walks. Like I want to continue going. That's why I'm like in a hoodie right now, because I'm like actually working out before I came here and didn't have time to shower. So nobody can smell my stink over the podcast, thankfully. But I don't
really appreciate that.
I want the chair exercise.
It's a weird thing, man. So Robert, who was on the podcast last episode, or when, I don't know if you've been watching the podcast, you've met Robert. Robert's a pretty fit individual. Like he doesn't drink. He's very, he's like way into the, he takes like all these like liver supplements and stuff. I wouldn't say he's into Liver King, but he is into like that stuff, like the carnivore MD diet and all that kind of stuff. And he talked about it because I got this chair and he was like, I don't think you're going to like that chair. And I was like, why do you think that? And he was like, when you sit, like, you just want to be able to like sit and rest and relax and stuff. And he was like, he's like, I've done those active chairs and stuff. And like, you want to be able to separate working out and working. Mm-hmm. And so I went into it thinking I was not going to like this chair. And I will say it is not the most comfortable. It needs more cushion on the butt because it feels like you're riding like a bicycle. Right. And you like the first week, like my butt was sore, just getting off this thing. But I do like it because I feel like it keeps me a little bit more active. Well, obviously active, but it keeps me on mind a little bit more. I have to move. I've got like ADHD or something. And if I don't move, I just zone out. So it's helped me there. And I've gotten used to it. I think the only thing that still kind of sucks is that like sometimes my neck and back, and I think this is because I've got a weak neck and back, like sometimes they're sore at the end of the day. But it's been better than just sitting in my chair that I had. I still have it in my office, but it was like this very pillowy, soft kind of like this forces me to sit upright. So anyway, Long story short, if you're looking at a chair like this, they have a 60-day money back guarantee. It's qr360.com. I would check it out. It's not cheap. It's like $400 or $500. But I've been pleasantly surprised with it so far.
I feel like it would be good for like meetings, maybe for recording like this.
Yeah, it's good for that.
So that way, especially when, we're in different types of meetings. There's meetings where like we're hands-on, like strategizing. And then there's meetings where we're kind of, we're there. And other
just kind of hanging out
stuff. Yeah. And like, I feel like it'd be very good in those situations, maybe even recording, just like helping you focus. But I don't know that I would want another thing when I'm trying to like do focused work. I'd have to like switch between chairs.
Yeah. I could see that. I don't know. Overall, I just really, this year I'm trying to like really optimize how I work because I've never cared about that before. And I've never really put time into it. Like, this desk hasn't been great. Like my monitor setup hasn't been great for a long time. So like this year I'm like, you know what? I need to take this more seriously. Just because I want to get to the next level. I guess, I don't know. Sounds probably dumb, but
not really. I mean, I don't know. Is that going as far as like, you're like really looking at, am I sleeping right? Am I getting the right nutrients? Am I getting, the right exercise? Like, are you focusing on like those kind of things? Or is it just like the environment, that it's clean, that it's the right things?
It's kind of both.
To work.
I'd say this now because I'm doing dry January right now, honestly, like that's been a pretty like eye-opening kind of revelation for me. Like the first week, like every time I would get really stressed out, I was like, I'd want some wine or something. Like I would have like a craving, like I'd go drink some wine. Or every time I cooked, I would, because I love drinking wine and cooking. Like it's one of my favorite things to do, and just doing that in the evening, listen to some music, cooking. After a week, and I'm like 10 days in now, after a week that went away. So that was really interesting. And now I've had like no desire to drink. So that's been one of the things, like I really want to be better about that this year, is like I'm not going to like stop drinking altogether, because I really enjoy like good wine and beer. I like alcohol. But I do want to cut back a lot. And I think that would be better for my sleep. So as a result, I've been sleeping a lot better so far.
Have you noticed that yet?
Yeah. I noticed it I'd say the first 3 or 4 days, I didn't really notice anything, but now, I'm definitely sleeping like I go to sleep and then I wake up when it's like 5 or 6, which is about when I normally wake up anyway. So I haven't been used back before, like in December and previously, I was waking up multiple times through the night, and I've always done that. But I'm starting to like sleep through the night. It's not like a cure all, though. I wouldn't say that I feel like 1,000% better. Right. I just feel a little bit better. You know, it's like I feel a little bit more refreshed when I wake up. It's easier to just like get out of bed and go. So there's been that. I am counting calories. I'm not on all the seed oil and all that kind of stuff yet. I see a lot of that stuff where it's like, don't do seed oils and don't do this. And I'm just trying to like eat less, eat a lot of protein, walk a lot. I went on a 2-mile walk this morning, and then I've been doing push-ups every day. Like, I do minimum 50 push-ups a day. I do just body weight stuff. I'm going to go to the gym later today. So I'm trying, I'm not trying to like change my life or anything, but I am trying to, I'm 34 now. Like I've felt like at the end of last year, as my son, he's 2, and it was getting a little hard to like get on the ground with him and like do stuff like that. I've never been very flexible, but I want to get better at those things. Like I just want to be able to play a little bit better and just feel better. I don't know. Just feel so anyway. I don't know. That was a long answer for your question, but I'm doing some of those things. Yes, but I'm not like going hardcore because I don't think that that's actually sustainable for me to just jump all the way in and do it.
We talked last episode about like breaking points and how that can like change you, things like that. It's kind of interesting as you were thinking about that, because I'm turning 35 in a month. Maybe 5 weeks. I don't know, I don't know when this episode's coming out, but soon. And what really changed everything for me was when I turned 25, like I really started to get fit. I was in about the same shape I am now. So it didn't last 10 years later. But I got really, really fit and launched my first business off the back end of that, like helping everybody else, because I had such a huge transformation. So, and maybe I think I started a little before I was 25, but I remember like the big changes that year was the year I turned 25. So, I don't know. I just thought about that right now because I'm like really getting back into the working out, like here in my home garage and lifting again. And the big thing I did was like, I'm just powerlifting, like, and I'm keeping it really simple and lower weight. And I just thought about like what I need to cancel my gym membership because I'm not going. It's like too difficult, like the timing. Like I got to drop my kids off and then I have to wait an hour to go there, and it just eats up so much time that I end up not wanting to go. Not because I don't want to go, but because I don't want to like have the dead time in my day. So I'm like, well, what do I need to do to just like step out my garage door and go work out? And one of the things was like, okay, if I just show up and I'm not committed to like I have a workout, but I'm like, if I don't have time to do the whole thing, that's fine, because I'm prioritizing bigger lifts first. Like that's what I do. And then I'm doing like something that I enjoyed. Like I actually enjoyed powerlifting. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Olympic lifting back then too, but I know that if I tried to do that today, I would probably break something. So I'm just like going out and I'm like, okay, it's fun. I'm going to go pick up heavy things and put them down. But I wonder, there's something to that too. I'm like 10 years later, like, okay, I have a lot to show for it. And it kicked off and changed a lot of things in my life, but really I had a good 3-year run, and then health wise, and then my wife and I started having kids, and I've mostly been out of shape since then. I kind of put on the what is that called? Like the sympathy weight, and then she lost it and I didn't. And so it's like, okay, let's take care of that.
This is a Joe Rogan thing. I saw, this was a TikTok clip actually, which I want to talk about TikTok later, because we were talking about that before the podcast. But I saw this clip, and it was this guy that was talking about like when, and I wish I could, I'm going to butcher this. When women get pregnant, the male, you start producing, it starts with a P, I can't remember the name of it, but you start producing
it's a chemical
hormone or chemical that that causes you to drop testosterone and causes you to put weight on. And he was saying that the theory is it's to prepare, like as a male, it's to prepare you for like the long sleepless nights where you have to like protect your family.
Yep.
And I thought that was fascinating because like I did a podcast with Rambier, who used to be my fitness coach, and you know him really well. He was your fitness coach too. And we were talking about that. And he was like, is the dad thing real? Cause he's not a dad. And he was like, what did you think about that? Like, did you feel like you gained weight? And I was like, yeah, I actually tracked calories and stuff when my wife was pregnant, and I didn't eat a ton of stuff, but I still gained weight. Like it was just, it just happens. It was really frustrating. And then I lost it. But I guess where I was going with all that is like, I've gone through that too. It's just interesting, like how I don't know. It's like it's very hard to avoid. I don't know if I've met a dad that has gone through that and not gained any like sympathy weight or whatever it is, whether it's biological or habit wise, but it does kind of suck, you know?
Well, and I will say beyond the weight thing, there is something to like when your kid is born, you kick into a different gear where you are able to survive with heightened stress and lower sleep and all of those kind of things. Like, if you think about that, you're able to, like, when you have the newborn, you're able to function on so much less sleep and be so much more, I don't know what the word is, like actively awake when you need to be awake, more so than normal. And so like, you're just able to pop up and like be alert. That's the word I was looking for. Like you're able to be alert, take care of what you need to, and then fall right back asleep. Whereas like now, my kids are 7, 5 and about to be 3. If I get woken up in the middle of the night because like my daughter's crying, which happened last night, I'm not alert. I'm trying not to run into things on the way to her room, which is on the other side of the house. So it's
impossible
with toys and stuff. And then it's harder if you do get all the way alert, it's harder to go back to sleep. So I do think, the body's an amazing thing, man. And like being a parent changes your life. I really do think it changes your body and your chemical makeup and the way you function. And, we're an amazing machine. So I definitely think I've felt those things, like not intentionally. Like I was fit when Cooper was born. And it was, I started to get unfit, I guess, right before he was born.
Yeah. What's interesting for me, I was way out of shape, like back when we first started working together. I weighed like 200 pounds, which for me, I'm 5'10". Like I shouldn't weigh 200 pounds. So, but I lost like 20 pounds working with Rambier. And then relatively, I've been able to keep that off for like 5 years. I slide up to 183. Like when I start to feel fluffy, I slide up to 183, but I haven't been able to get to like what I really should be, is probably something like 168 ish, like high 160s. And I have not been able to do it only because I haven't actually, I get to this point where I'm like, I don't really feel fat. So I stop going. And I can just coast because I know like if I eat like these things, I can just kind of coast for a long time. But this time I'm going to actually try to get at least into like, 170 range, which I think honestly, if I'm not drinking, I think I can. I think that, I don't consider, I'm not like an alcoholic or anything, but I do. When business gets really stressful, like I go to the beer, I'll crack a beer open at night and like drink a beer or two for sure. So I'm trying to stop doing that. So anyway, I think that I'll lose quite a bit of weight just based on that alone. I've already seen it. I've already lost like 4 pounds in the last week, which
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Water weight, but so
well, that's interesting. Do you feel like your decision to kind of like, I'm going to take care of this, like, is this a New Year's thing where you're like, it's a new year and this is what I want to focus on? Or does the timing just happen to be you were wanting to make these changes? And
well, I'd say it's kind of twofold. The drinking thing is only because the Millennium Money Man team wanted to do Dry January, and something like that. It's way easier for me to like get on board and like really, it's kind of like accountability, I guess. I don't know. Right. It's like we check in and have a group doing it, and it's fun. It's like we're trying to see who survives the longest, and not everybody has survived to this point. It's like we're down to like 2 people. But that's made it a lot easier. And then on the other stuff about like the work stuff and all of that, like, I don't know, I just want to get to the next level, just as an entrepreneur in the business and everything. And like, I felt like this is the year that I finally have enough things I feel like in place to where I want to get to that next place and I can. And so just like leveling up equipment and caring more about those things, I think is like caring about the background and just more, you know, I don't know, more care for my craft. That's what I'm trying to do. It's not anything that like I consciously even decided. It's just something kind of like flipped like a switch a little bit. And it was like, I need to do this stuff. So I don't know what caused it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's that's good, because I think when it's like a more natural, like I feel the urge to make this change and like take actions, which you're already doing, versus, oh, I want to do this. This is my New Year's resolution. Like there's a reason that those things don't work. You know, I always tell my fitness people, January is not your best month. March is your best month, because when people, everybody's excited in January, but the people that are really feeling the pain of needing to lose weight or anything, they are much more likely to buy in mid-February through March when, okay, I wasn't able to sustain it. I don't want this to be another year where I don't achieve anything. So I think like, you know, having that like, hey, I'm just kind of, these are the things that I'm doing. It's good. But you also have clarity about where you want to go. Like you're really focusing on content this year and you're doing a lot of recording and video. So like, you know,
that was a big part of it too. I do think with both businesses, like it's kind of gotten to the point where now it's like we've got products, we've got funnels, we've got all these things. Like the only thing that's, I feel like missing in both businesses is just like audience. We've talked about this on the podcast before. It's like, that's just the thing that's like, okay, this is the glaring gap of something that needs to be addressed. And there's other things in business for sure that could be addressed, but like that's the thing where it's like, I've just seen so many of these people that don't really know what they're doing blow up on social media. And I'm like,
sure.
You know, it's like, dang, what if they were putting people into like legit funnels? And what if they actually knew, like if they did how many people do the level of tracking that we do? Like, which, you know, I don't, well, it's not even something I can't go into detail. We do a ton of tracking to, you know, user journey stuff and how people, I know how people interact with the websites, like all of those things. Like nobody even does that stuff, you know? So it's like, we've got this foundation built.
We do less than we could. Like there's so many things that you can do with the tracking technology that we're just like, whoa, we're not crossing that line. You know, like just like sucking people's email out of the ether, like, you know, stuff that's like you're not supposed to do. And, you know, we're not going to do, but it's pretty,
there's a lot you can do.
Yeah. It's all the things like you're scared about, like them listening to you on Messenger and all that, like that stuff's happening.
Yeah. Speaking of TikTok, so we were talking about this earlier. So I wanted to kind of ask you a little bit. So you've been going pretty hard on TikTok. I say pretty hard. You've been putting like a video a day. Like that's not hard, but you've been clearly doing it a lot.
I started experimenting with it this summer, and I went through probably 8 accounts and I got shadow banned a couple of times, kind of pushing the edges on some things, trying to learn. I also, you know, there's this kind of idea out there that if your account is, you can start an account and not perform well and you can delete it and start another account and then that one pop off pretty immediately. And I've seen that with Facebook advertising accounts. So I know that those kind of things actually happen in this world. So I experiment with that a little bit, but yeah, I started in the summer, kind of got tired of it and stopped. And then I would say I started my current account and was like, I'm really going to try this around maybe 3rd week of October. And I was just like, okay, I've learned a lot. Like, let's develop a strategy based on what I've learned and like, let's go implement it. And it took me 4 to 5 weeks to hit 1,000 followers and be able to get, you know, my link in my profile.
Right.
But I ended up hitting 10,000 followers in under 60 days. So it literally was like 1,000 and then boom. And then I was doing about a post a day. Was not super active over the holiday. So I was maybe doing like 4 a week. So maybe every other day. But like, so I'm sitting at about, what are we today? Today's January 10th, sitting at about 14,000 followers. So
I think it's 14.8. I looked earlier. It was something like that. Yeah. It's grown.
Yeah. So, but I will say, like, I have had a video hit 1 million views. It is.
Was that on TikTok? I was looking for that one. I didn't see it on there.
Yeah, it's down a ways.
That was it.
I did have one video hit 1 million views. It is not the bulk of my subscribers. I think it's maybe 3,000 of them. So
yeah,
the bulk of my subscribers are coming from just like the regular content
stuff.
You know, like I've got videos that have 10,000 subscribers, 10,000 views that have given me 300 subscribers, right? Like, so, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting, but yeah, I've been playing with it. Like I say like I started posting 3rd week of October, but the reality is like I was doing a lot of experimental stuff with other accounts that weren't successful back this last summer, just to kind of figure things out.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason I sent you a video, and I don't know who the guy is. Maybe we can put up the video.
Alex Hormozi just gained 1.2 million followers in the past 6 months alone. Well, it breaks down into 3 secrets, which are testing, being crazy visual, and scaling high quality videos.
But I basically, he was just talking about how Hormozi got big on his all of his social channels and all of that. And we're about to, Millennial Money Man, we're about to roll out a social strategy. Like I haven't really, I do things here and there, but I've kind of realized over time, like I'm not very good at just putting out content the way that I used to be good at putting out content when I first started the site.
Sure.
And so now it's going to be more structured, but we are going to put out like 3 or 4 pieces of content per day on almost all of the platforms. And we're just going to roll that out like starting today pretty much. But I was asking about it because like he was basically saying TikTok and TikTok and Twitter are what you should test a bunch of content on. And then you take that content, whatever wins, and then you put it on like Instagram and YouTube. And so I was just trying to figure out, you're way up on the algorithm stuff. Like you study it a lot and you talk about it a lot. And I was like, is this still good information? Because we were talking about it in the other team, but like you said something really interesting about how TikTok works. And I know we don't have a ton of time, but can you just kind of tell people what you told me?
Well, what part was interesting? Because I said
the way that basically like you said that TikTok is not a good testing platform because of the way that the algorithm works and because of like the gateways that you hit and how your video that hit 1 million views, like the way that it happened, like you were essentially saying like, this is not good because of the way that this works.
So I think like to back up a second, I know a lot of when I was sending you the messages, I watched the video you talked about and you were asking like, is this outdated or is it up to date? And I was saying like, it's not outdated. It's accurate information, but it's overly simplified and misses a lot of the nuance of the platforms. And it matters. Like we're in a spot where like you can create short form content and you can post it to TikTok, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and just kind of put it across everything. And you're going to have some success with that. But that strategy is going to work way better, not way more better. It's going to be way more effective. It's going to be way more effective for the established YouTuber or the Alex Hormozis because they already have a following. And so therefore their content is going to get pushed a little bit further on every platform at the beginning. TikTok is interesting because it is the only one that is 100% engagement based. The time that you post does not matter. Really, like your follower count and that stuff doesn't matter to an extent, with like one exception, and I'll get into that in a second. So basically, the basics of how it works out is when you post a video to TikTok, they are going to almost immediately show it to 50 to 250 people. Let's say 150, 250. They're going to show it to these people. And then based on your watch time and your engagement, you're going to either pass a threshold or not. And if you pass the threshold, they're going to show it to more people. That won't happen immediately though. So a lot of times you'll see a video and it might show like 5, 10, 15 views. And then 5 minutes later, it shows 250. And then 2 hours later, it starts to grow. And that could be a slow trickle, or it could be an explosion to 10,000 views. And it's because they've found, okay, you're getting good watch time and you're getting a percentage of engagement. And so from what I've been able to tell, like if you're getting a 10%, higher than 10% engagement to views, right? So 10 views for one engagement being a comment or a like or a share, whatever, but mostly likes. Like that, not that the likes are not more important, comments and shares are more important, but like I'm basing the 10% on likes. Like if you have 700 views, then you should have 70 likes or more. So if you have that in conjunction with very good watch time, then it's probably going to go up. Now, if you're doing a video that's 5 to 10 seconds, you're looking at 100% watch time or better, plus that 10%. So like they're looking for these thresholds in order to push your content. And then it goes to another one. It might go to 1,000 and then 2,000 and then 10,000. And so you tend to see this. And so like the video that I had go viral, you know, the first time it hit 10,000 and then there was like nothing for a while. And then all of a sudden it went to 50 and then nothing for a week. And like, I remember it getting up. It was my first one across 100,000. And then obviously everything after that, it was at 250,000 and it stayed there for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it went on another run. So when you post, like you're testing, like you're trying to see what works, but it's kind of like, that's the process of like how videos are displayed and it determines what your views are. Has nothing to do with your subscribers and everything like that. The way that it can get modified is that what I've noticed from other accounts and from my own is once you start to have videos hit and once you start to get more followers, your threshold goes up. Now your videos aren't hitting 250, they're hitting 500. Now every video is hitting 1,000. Now every video is hitting 2,000. Like the average views of every video, including the bad ones, goes up. And so when that happens, you're able to hit a bigger segment and you're more likely to hit a group of people that really engage with that. Because you have to remember these algorithms, it's the same thing as like with Facebook ads. They're showing it to people. And then out of that 250, so like if they're going to show it to 1,000 and they show it to 200 first, and they go, this group of the 200 really engaged and this group didn't, let's find more people like the group that engaged. And then they're going to try and show it to that group. And so you're basically, when you have a bigger following, like you have a bigger chance of like finding that engaged group and hitting those metrics. But it's why somebody has never posted before can post a video and go viral, right?
Right.
And the example I gave you was I had a client, fourth video ever, 3.7 million. He added $80,000 recurring revenue because we had taught him how to do the funnel and all the stuff that you mentioned. Like we taught him, he had that monetization thing in place. But the reason that's kind of the background, but the reason that it's not always a good testing thing is because they're showing your video to 200 people, 500 people. What if they show it to the wrong segment? What if they show it to a group of people that's not interested in that? Now you think you have a bad video. And so the YouTube training or video that you were watching, they were like, Alex posts on Twitter, he posts on TikTok, he sees what works, and then he moves that over to Instagram and YouTube. So he was like, we posted 280 videos on TikTok and Twitter, and only 4 of those posts made it to YouTube and Instagram. Well, that's all well and good, but sometimes a video doesn't perform and then on TikTok, and then you can repost it and it blows up. And I've seen that. I've had a video that didn't perform, but I was like, this one should have performed because I had another one like it perform and that had 30,000. And then when I reposted the crappy video, it hit 100,000. Right. So that's kind of why, like, it's not a good testing thing, but it is in the fact that it's safe. Like if you're posting on TikTok, it's not like posting on your Facebook profile. Your grandma and your friends from high school and your mom and dad and everybody aren't there and they aren't seeing it. And you can block it so that way you're not being recommended to your contacts and stuff, which you should do. That's actually better for growth. So like it's a safe place. Same with Twitter. It's a safe place to post without feeling the fear of like judgment from others. And when you post, you can find out what is working and what's not working. And so you'll find certain subjects work better than others. Like you talked about, we're really good at the products and the conversion of products and that kind of stuff. That's great. We are good at that. Content about how to grow on social media is always going to outperform content on how to monetize your following on social media because there's more people that want to grow for different reasons. And there's more people that are at the beginner stage. It's just a bigger pool of people. So anyway, I know we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to wrap. We got a meeting.
But we can go into this a lot more depth on another episode because I think it's an interesting topic. But it's, yeah, you should test on those places, but you got to remember that a signal that something is performing well generally means that content on that topic will perform well on another platform, but it doesn't mean that video or TikTok or tweet will perform well on the other platform, because it's about the subject matter. But now you need to repurpose it. You can repurpose it and see how it does, but it'd be better if you created something native for the other platform. On the flip side, if something's not working on a platform, especially TikTok, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have viral potential on another platform or there. It just means that segment didn't see it, right? And that's why it's always harder for newer creators than big creators, because they just don't have the audience to get the initial response from. If you have 1 million followers, then you're going to find out whether something's a good piece of content or not, because you're going to get the initial engagement from your follower group.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I want to dive into it more. I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, we're going to roll out a ton of content. Sometimes I don't like the algorithm stuff. I think for me, I just want to put out really good content, and maybe that's not a good strategy anymore, but I think it is. Like there's just certain things over the years. Like I know if I talk about cars, it's going to blow up because people just have an opinion about. So like, I'm going to try to rely on that, but I want to try to mix in some of that with some of the algorithm kind of, I'm not going to say gaming, but like some of the strategic algorithm stuff that you talk about a lot. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
but
I think you need both. So that'll be a good topic. So we'll put a pin in it and come back next week. Cliffhanger. If you don't want to miss out on that, definitely subscribe to the podcast, any podcast platform. Subscribe on YouTube. You're going to see more of our content. We've got daily clips and exclusive content there. So check that out, and we'll see you next week.